Okay. All right. Can you put together a quick summary of our call with Tony and send it out to Tony, Jeff, or can you put together a summary of all those three items and how they got resolved and send it via email to all three of the council members? Or just quick, or just on record. All right, thanks. See you. You not smell it? It does smell like gas.
I checked the pilots.
What gas we got?
You can set by the lake, and do it in the street. When we just and they pay, it's sitting right down there.
Sure, yeah. So Ed Peters, I think we've all met before, at least virtually, or in person here. I came to the first public hearing that we had for this proposal, but colleague Gavin Hall and I are here to talk about the 3 utility study that we've been working on for a few months for you guys. Just kind of remind you of the process. You guys received an Oprah grant, like $90,000 I think was the amount, and you're required to look at wastewater and stormwater, kind of a master plan. You define the time period, but typically it's about a 20-year period that we're looking at kind of for you and with you, what needs to be done on all 3 utilities in that time. And since that time, we had a contract with you. We did the first public hearing, kind of got some public feedback, not much, but there was a few people here that kind of discussed with us. There's been a lot of research done and field work done in town trying to figure out specifically the wastewater side of your originally, again, because of Okra's involvement, the purpose of the grant is you look at all 3, but the town really challenged us to look at the wastewater in the greatest amount of detail, spend the most amount of time on that because of the issues with the inflow and infiltration, the I&I, and your basically stormwater in your gravity sewer system, sanitary system. So that's exactly what we did. And I guess we're here today to kind of present to you, I'll call it the findings. We did a draft report, submitted it to Okra. You guys are, as a council, are going to have to accept this report. Basically, you're going to, hey, this is ours. We agree with it. So we're trying to get your feedback now, and then this will be ultimately turned into Okra as a final report, either in your July or August meeting. So want to get your feedback and kind of tell you what we've been up to. If there's any changes, we got a couple months. If there's some changes in priority, that's the you guys see. You know, we have an idea on what we put as the priority. I'm talking with your guys' field staff and what we saw in town, but want to get your feedback as well. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. Again, the scope was to look at all 3 utilities. We'll start with the water. That seems to be always the simplest. The water system several times over by us, and I've also heard that you guys are contracting with CEI to look at it even more in depth for the transmission main down to the hospital area, and then also for some well field improvements. So that is something that Midwestern looked at a couple of times in recent history. In late 20-teens, 2020 time period, we did a report, PER, for it for EDA funding to run a 16-inch transmission main down the highway from the tank down to that area for fire flow mainly, and then also generator at the well field, increasing the capacity of the wells. So we did that. We did a report on that in 2020. That's still a priority for the town. Case in point, you guys just signed a contract for another engineering firm to look at it. So we understand that it's important. It's in this report as well. That's I'm going to call it the primary #1 priority is what we have this listed as, is the transmission main from the tank down to the hospital area, and then upgrading the capacity of the wells. The wastewater, and I guess to continue on water, secondly, I guess the second priority we got was some of the old cast iron undersized mains in town that had frequent leaks. You guys have recorded over the years work orders on which mains had the most leaks. We talked to your guys too on which ones are the most frustrating, which ones are the ones that are going back to time after time, and we've kind of put together a list of mains in town that we feel are priorities for just a complete replacement in town. And again, that's something that you guys have already started. I think there on Mill Street, you were contracting with another engineering firm, a third one, to replace that with some of your CCMG projects. So again, something that you guys are already doing, and this would just be a continuation of that kind of program. That's kind of the water side. The water storage tank, good shape. We checked that out 3 or 4 years ago. No major improvement needed at this time. So it's kind of your water system is mostly distribution system and then the well field. So the kind of moving on to the wastewater. This is the big one. Wastewater is the major priority area. that you guys have tasked us again to look at, and mostly, I'm not even gonna say the whole system, it's the collection system. So the wastewater treatment plant, we have some costs and some stuff in here, recommendations, but that, to me, to be from the town as well and from your operators. So the high priority was the collection system, trying to fight the I&I system. We smoke tested, I'm sure you guys are all aware, we smoke tested the majority of town, which was about 3/4 of the town's collection system. We had done the previous quarter 2-3 years ago now, so we've now essentially smoke tested all of the, I'm going to call it the immediate area. We didn't smoke test out towards the high school, didn't want to smoke out the high school. And that's also newer as well, so we're not as concerned about I&I in that section, but the immediate downtown area here has all been smoke tested, and the project that we've kind of laid out is lining the from either the smoke testing or from cammering that you've done on the system before, lining it with CIPP lining, and that's a high priority. Manholes that we feel need to be lined as well with a coating to protect the manhole and keep water from coming in on the manhole and from the bottom, from the top there, the road. So some manhole rehab, the main rehab, and then the lift stations. There's 3 lift stations in town. I don't want to say frequently overflow, but there is 3 lift stations in town that are overflow. 2 of them are hydraulically overloaded whenever that happens with big rain events. Pumps can't keep up. The pumps are undersized and the force mains might be as well. The third one is the main, I'm going to call it the main lift station that pumps all of the wastewater to the plant. And it's our understanding that has pretty frequent electrical issues. So it might not be that it's undersized where the pumps are too small, but that it's kind of getting up there in age and through different tripping, power surging, whatever, it's got VFDs in it, it just causes some electrical issues and causes it to overflow as well. So this project on the wastewater side, I'm going to keep all that as a priority number 1. Between the mains, the manholes, and then the lift stations, really felt like all of that, the lift stations have to be done. That's the thing that you guys get flagged for MIDEM the most on all your inspections, on overflow reports. It's the primary, that's the primary health hazard there, overflowing lift stations. And then I keep up that main lining and manhole lining is a high priority. That's number 1, 2. Because without, you can fix the lift stations, but then you're just going to be pumping it all to the plant, kicking the problem down the road, so to speak. So the second is kind of laid out as the wastewater treatment plant stuff. That's more, a lot of it's more maintenance type in nature. There's not a lot of like capital improvement. The wastewater treatment plant felt like it was in pretty good shape. It's been upgraded. I have to guess on the date, but it's within the last 20 years. I think it's been updated. So kind of to go through some of these items that I've got in front of you here. That's a summary. Does anybody have any questions first about that? Storm sewer was what this council asked us to kind of spend the least amount of time, I'll call it, on of that amount. We've driven the town, take pictures whenever we had some big rain events here this winter. We've got some areas in town where we feel like need to be storm sewer. They don't have any now. And then also talk to your folks about where storm sewers exist that maybe need to be cleaned out, need to be cameraed, different things there, basically cleaned out, clogged up storm sewers in town. So we kind of kept all that under one umbrella. It's just little smaller projects, smaller amount, but all of them, all of the storm improvements are under one priority. It's just we didn't differentiate and didn't get that detailed on it. So that's the projects, summary of the projects. The first sheet I'll draw your attention to is the one with the blue stripe. Kind of got you an agenda here. There's a summary, basically what I just described to you guys on the second page. It says presentation summary. It's got a preliminary planning level cost, budgetary cost estimate, what you want to call it there, on the water. Again, wanted you guys to understand the justification behind this a little bit. I think you do a lot already, just from the feedback that we've received from the town. But there's a second one with some yellow highlights, and the water's also the most expensive on the playing level cost. You'll look at the, all right, this water tables and figures with the yellow highlights. Table 1, census data, kind of shows, I'm sure what you all are aware, since 2000, the population has been decreasing here in town. Since then, it's been decreasing here in Sullivan County as well. And then Indiana University predicts that it's continue to decrease over the next 20 years. So there's not a lot of, I'm going to call it residential growth in town. So that's not what's driving these projects. It's not what's driving the sewer, the water. There's some economic growth that potential economic growth that's driving the big main down there. But for the most part, for both the sanitary sewer on the collection system and the water, on water loss and how much you're pumping out of your well field, it's not necessarily driven by demand. It's driven by either water loss on the water side or by water getting in on the sewer. So the MRO summary there, table 3, that's your water pump from the well field, and it's giving you the average water usage here in town, which was 4,000 gallons a day, and then average high water usage, that's an important number, that 482,000 gallons per day. That's what I did look. So whenever you're looking at that 480, compare it to what one of your wells can do on its own. Your wells are rated for 250 gallon a minute. You'll see there that those high days there, 482 is over the 250 gallon per minute well, one well demand. It's 134% of capacity of one well. When we look at wells, we always look at the one, if one was out of service, getting maintenance on, well pump out, well motor out, whatever it is. We always look at one out of service. I'm not going to go through it, but there's a sheet called memorandum on here that I sent to Chris Kruger at Thrive. She was asking about what your kind of capacity looked like for some economic stuff here just a couple months ago.
What would be ideal as far as the percentages? We're under percent, 104.
Yeah, 90% is the threshold where I start really looking at what you're adding to your system. So you want to be under 90% so that there's not a lot of scrutiny with adding customers. Is all under 90%. So, like I said, the memorandum, if you know, it's not like bedtime reading, but if you read that, that'll kind of give you a lot more in-depth detail on those numbers and show you how we calculated those, just for your knowledge there. But it also recommends a pumping rate of 450 gallon per minute for one well is the recommended. So bringing them both up from 250 gallon per minute a piece to 450 gallon per minute a piece. Yes. And you know, this other engineering firm that's going to look at it, I don't know what you tasked them with. It could be that you get a third well out there and drill a third well and keep, you know, then you got 2 and you got 1 that's out of service, so then you're getting a little redundancy, but you're not sizing the wells. That's a potential too. I will say that drilling a new well, the capital cost involved is, you know, probably upwards of $500,000 or more. So you might be able to replace and column pipe motors, as long as the well casings and the way the well was constructed can handle it. Which, to my knowledge, your guys' wells were designed for 500 gallon per minute originally. If they could still for, you know, that might be a cost savings there. But this other report that you'll get, I'm sure, will look at those kind of options. So that's the water, and there's a kind of a graph there that shows that there's a hard, on the second page of this report, there's a hard marine line that says the firm capacity. You'll see every day that your pumpage was above that firm capacity. You'll kind of just graphically show, like, you'll see the vast majority of the days are down there in the 200 range, but then there's those few days where you have a water main break, you know, Memorial Day weekend, whatever it is, people watering lawns, that's when you see that excess.
It's mostly driven by water. Yeah.
So, that's probably it on the water, except for the third page, table 5, I showed you that. It's called validated water loss summary. This is, the town participates in is required to participate in a statewide water loss audit every 2 years, and it's on the odd calendar year. So like this year, you'll be auditing your 2025 data. It's due on August 1st. And this is something that, you know, again, wanted to point out, you're at 35 and 29% the last couple of years. That's pretty high, but it's not uncommon in this area, especially with old cast iron pipes. Item starts to look at that anything over 10 to 15%. So when you're in your 20, if you're in the 20%, then they're saying that you got an issue with water loss, you got excess water loss. But just wanted to point that out as well. So that's the driving force behind the water side. On the sanitary side, I don't have any neat graphs or tables here, but I think that you guys understand like what's driving that. It's the, you know, the water coming in the storm sewer. I did have looking for it now, I might have stuck in the wrong spot. Yeah, a few pages in, it's figure 5. It looks like a bunch of dots. It says wastewater treatment plant historical precipitation. I should have put page numbers. It's the 5th from the back. I think, or 6th from the back. Yeah, after your first little battle of costs. So the first graph shows I'm going to call it the influent rate, the metered influent of the wastewater treatment plant. And then if you flip one more page, it shows the rainfall precipitation. And if you put those two graphs together, you'd see they dang near match. You know,
So, yeah, with a lot of rain, we get a lot of
flow into the plant. Yes. So that's kind of, I guess, the justification there. When if you get rainfall and it drives your plant, you know, 3-4 times the amount of daily usage.
Yeah, people are not using more water, more rain.
Exactly. So, you know, this is a problem system-wide, and that's why we did the smoke testing manhole inspections. We found the smoke testing, you know, we didn't find, like, I'll call it like a bunch of, I don't want to call it red flags, but we didn't find a bunch of, hey, here's where all your I&I is coming from. Like, we didn't find like a broken pipe in a storm sewer or something like that where, you know, it's injecting, you know, hundreds of thousands of gallons every rain. What we found is a lot of little, it's like death by 1,000 cuts is what we found in your system with the smoke testing. You know, whether it's open cleanouts where it's just yards flown into them from old homes that no longer exist, or the laterals themselves are broken where the lateral is settled differently from the main. We found some where there is some problems on the mainline sewer where smoke was coming up, where we need to dig down and repair a short section of pipe. Found a few through you guys had CCTV'd several thousand feet a couple of years ago, and we looked at all that video, reviewed it, and there was a few mains that showed some cracking, some spots where infiltration was coming in. But in all, we found about 7,000 feet, so just over a mile of pipe that we recommended that probably ought to get lined. There's probably more than that in town, but we did do the smoke testing when it was a real wet time, and that smoke testing a lot of times if it's wet, it won't find the cracks in the ground and come up like it should. So just because the Okra timeline and everything, we're kind of forced to do that at not the most opportune time. Yes, yeah. So I will say we did, we found some, just not a huge amount of like real big glaring issues. So that's on the I&I fighting side. On the lift station side, you know, again, you got 3 that overflow pretty consistent. I shouldn't say consistent. They overflow when you have some issues, and 2 of them are hydraulic issues where the pumps need to be upsized. And we actually looked at with this report, upsizing pumps and upsizing the force main. you can only shove so much water through a 4-inch force main. And if we put bigger pumps on, then there's a chance you develop leaks too on old force mains that are all cast iron. So, you know, yeah. So it's not a 100% active thing on the force mains until we look at the hydraulics and design a little closer. But there are 2 lift stations definitely that likely need that force main size as well. So, stormwater, I don't really have a huge amount of, again, prepared on this. It's mostly pictures in the overall report. When we send you a copy, you'll kind of see we kind of try to document the intersections, both that you guys gave us as problem intersections, residents gave us, and then also just what we saw with our own eyes driving around. We did GPS all of your existing storm sewer, kind of got a feel for where all of your storm sewer is now. There's spots too where there's some ditches in town that ought to be cleaned out as well with this project. So I guess the justification there, it's pretty self-evident. If there's a leak, you know, an intersection that's holding water, yards that are holding water, there either needs to be storm sewer added or it needs to be repaired or upsized. So that's kind of, again, summary, rough cost here. We're roughly at $8 million for the water to do that, and the cost. There's detailed cost estimates in this packet here. I'm not going to go line by line, but just wanted to point out kind of the major spots for that cost. The water side, if I get to the summary page. The water side of that $8 million, it was $6 million in construction costs, and we just estimated across the board for like soft cost 25% hold for this level of cost estimate. The water main, the big 16-inch water main from the tank down to the high school or hospital area was $4.5 million of that. So you can kind of see there that like the other stuff, which involves the well field, the valve replacements, the main replacements, they're ranging anywhere from you know just a few $1,000s to several $100,000, but they're not a bunch of like up in the millions kind of cost estimates. But that
really one 55%.
Yes, yeah, of all the water stuff, and that's the stuff that's economic development driven that you guys are looking at kind of separately for different kinds of grants. But on the sewer side, the costs were roughly $4 million. And these will change a little bit yet. We'll finalize them before they get submitted to Okra. But again, roughly on that, out of the $4 million, each one of the lift stations is going to run, with the force main and everything, is going to run you about $750,000 for a new upsized pumps, replacement valves, new force main of the lengths that they are. They're anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000. And then the collection system stuff was about $1 million. So we had on there for the lift station work, it's almost half, a little over half of the cost, and then you have about $1 million in the lining and trying to go catch some line. So again, you can do a large I&I project. You could go line every main in your town, and you still might not find where it's coming from. The smoke testing is one way you get closer. The manhole inspection is another way. You could CCTV everything in town for $3.50 a foot, $4 a foot, and get even closer. A lot of towns do that, if they're at this point before they go and do a big project, lining project, recommendations, but then they'll go one step further and just camera everything before and get a little more detail. We don't operate a camera truck, but that would be a recommendation I would make if you're looking to do a bigger collection system rehab project. We put down about $1 million worth of work that we feel like we caught, something where it would help some way, somehow. But if you wanted more, if you wanted to be able to select which ones to do more, you need to do the televising of some more sections remaining.
Once you get that line, you go through, and that's where
And then on the stormwater, we had approximately $3 million in costs. So it didn't exactly follow. I guess the cost here didn't exactly follow the priorities. I'll say it gets pretty close though on all three of the utilities, 3-4 million. If you take out the economic development driven stuff, you go more to rehab type elements here in town. So. Okay, so kind of next steps here, and I didn't explain this, but these three larger prints kind of show the main work for each one of those three utilities. On the waste with all the red dots. The wastewater is the one with all the red dots on it. The green is what mains we're proposing need to be CIPP line. It's got a green highlight if we felt like there was a potential for an INI from smoke testing or from the cammering that you've done already. And then the force mains are the two lift stations are lift station number 2 and lift station number 3. And I think lift station number 4 also has some issues, so we did show some work on that too. So lift station 5 is the one that's coming from the high school that we did not show doing any work on, any proposed work on. So. Okay. The water system is the one with the red lines on it, and it shows the mains there. The mains in town that need to be replaced from kind of all the feedback that we got. And then so in downtown area, you can kind of see the main drags there that would be replaced, like Poplar, shows as a complete replacement for most of the town. And then over on the west side I think it's Ohio Street. And then there's a couple little ones on the east side of the railroad tracks, Thomas Street and Buckley. Then the main that you kind of see coming from the water tower, there's a call out for a 500,000 gallon elevated water storage tank, and it kind of heads south, and then along 41, that's the main that's been proposed there that serves kind of fire protection to that hospital area. So on the storm sewer map, it's the last one there. The blue highlighted storm sewer is where you have existing storm sewer now that we're proposing to be cleaned out and televise it. The pink is where no storm sewer exists now, and we're going to add sections of storm sewer to fix some of those issues. Just wanted to point out, I know like Walnut and Griffith is one that came up at our public hearing, our public meeting, where one of the gentlemen had a picture of kind of a flooded intersection there. So. And then this does show all of your other existing facilities too. Like I said, we did go through it and GPS all the storm sewer that we could find in town. So, but. Okay. So next steps, I guess, if you guys would, we'll send you the larger one. This is just kind of like snippets. We'll send you the draft report. We'd like to get feedback from this group before June 1st, so we can make any changes. We're going to make a few changes to finalize on our side. But any feedback or issues or reprioritization that you guys feel like is necessary, we'd like to get that back by June 1st, and then we'll hold a second public hearing on either July 20th likely or August 17th, one of those two, either at your July or August regular meeting, and have that approval from you guys to accept the report kind of as your own. So, and then on the feedback there, just candidly, I don't know if you guys see something that's missing, or if you want me to talk a little further about how we prioritize. We didn't go through and say, all right, we're going to do the water mains in phases. This is the most important water main through the least important. We can do that. We're reviewing with your staff, or just looking for like what you would like to see. If you feel like there's you know, a certain dollar amount on any of these that you're trying to, you know, maybe this is what we're capable of handling for the first phase. If you talk to your rate consultants, that would be a similar thing. You know, if Baker Tilly says, you know, if you go to $1 million, the rate increase is going to be this percentage. If you do 2 million, it's going to be this. And then what your guys' appetite is there for, you know, how big of a project. That's kind of what we're looking for a little bit.
Yeah, it's just needs under. That 60 is on better. I know. Where you at?
Yeah.
What's that one you got?
The one on 41. Yeah.
Sewer.
Yeah, and that, I know that's something we've looked at several years. I mean, I think starting in 2016, 2017, when we looked at it. And, but, yeah. Okay. 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 Anybody got any questions for tonight?
No.
Okay.
I'll reach out to a couple of updates around through Joel on which were some of the main that isn't on the picture. Get that put in.
Okay. On water main?
On stormwater.
Storm sewer? Okay.
And then, I think there's a couple spots I'll double check that Joel already had televised that showing these televised.
On the storm?
No, on wastewater.
Okay.
So I'll get a list of stuff
Okay.
that I think is wrong, but I'll check for sure.
Yeah, I think that some of the issue with the re-televising is that some of the manholes did not get located when that was done. So like we couldn't find probably 30 manholes in town from smoke testing, where you know we think there ought to be one, but then it's buried or been paved over or whatever.
There was several on the televising that had to be dug up.
Yeah, so that's one where we say, because we couldn't find it in the smoke testing, maybe, I'm not saying this is the one we just looked at, but if we couldn't find it in smoke testing, then we show televising that section to find that manhole, for example, you know.
I believe should have marked them, but I'll double check.
Okay. Those particular ones are the ones that are surrounded in red on the map. Those are the manholes that we say, those are the ones we could not find, are the ones that have the red on. Yeah, no, I mean, these are going to be your guys' maps. We want to get them as right as possible. So if you give them to your guys, you know, I know we spend a lot of time with your guys, but it's a lot for utilities. It is, you know, a lot of work.
We could locate them.
Yeah, when we're smoke testing, you got 4 guys, and you're just trying to really get attention.
Oh, no, I get it, yeah. We can help you out on getting a bunch of that stuff figured out, I think. I don't know any other questions. I
Okay.
appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
The cooler is the second round of PFAS. It's due in April, May, or June, so the second quarter. Our first one come back undetected, so we don't have PFAS as far as we know, but they do require a second round just to make sure. So, PFAS? Polyfluoro. It's plastics anyway. Forever chemicals or whatever. Some systems have it, some systems don't, but this is our second round. We're good for, on our first round, so we'll find out for this. And on that, testing the current. You guys asked me last month, I think it was last month anyway, for the fluoride, to see if we had excess amount of fluoride.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of natural fluoride in the water. It come out to 0.25 milligrams per liter. So that's
0.7 is,
0.7 is what you inject. If you're going to inject it, that's about what they want to keep it around. That's the healthy teeth
well,
limit.
if we could, I'd like to keep it long. How much does it cost you more to test for that, or is that?
It's 25 tests for approximately $100. We have the equipment to test it. We have the DR 3900.
Yeah, I just, I mean, I understand it's natural, but.
So you want monthly test?
Yeah, you can't distinguish once it's in the water where, I mean, whether it was natural or whether it's coming from another place. And from what I've been reading, like main contributors to brick plants and coal refinery, and some other things that are north of us. I just want, you know, if it starts increasing, then we need to find out where it's coming from.
Try it out for a year or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I just know that northern Martin County and the levels are like, I mean, like deadly almost.
And we have 25 tests, so if you want to do it monthly, we got 2 years worth of tests.
Okay.
It's a 1-minute test.
Yeah, just keep it long. I feel like it's probably not natural. I mean, that's my opinion, you know, but I mean, like, if it starts increasing, then we know it's coming from somewhere other than just the ground, you know.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really in-depth test.
Cool. So it's easy, not.
No, it's 1 minute. You put a sample in a vial.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Read it. There's something else that is not on here that I remember when we get in here. That always happens. Our controller for the water tower went down. We thought it was a transducer. We changed the transducer out. It wasn't the transducer. It ended up being control card. Joe got that in a couple days ago. Slid it in. Started working awesome. We did expand. We usually run on 11-foot variation in our tower. We expanded it up to 13 foot. I'm kind of watching the run. I don't want to get up, like he said. That expansion. Well, we're running 13 foot instead of 11. And it takes us 12 hours to pump at 11. It takes us 14 hours to pump at 13. And if the guys go out there right before it starts and then it runs all night, you know, I mean, that's going to up it's not necessarily going to up our average, but it's going to up our daily, because they want that peak daily usages, like he said, and then that's what they figure off of. So I don't want, like, one day to be running 400,000, the next day be 100, and then 400,000 and 100.
Yeah, they try to keep it consistent.
Yeah, when they got to do their paperwork, then it's like 400, 400, 400, and, you know, there's a sweet spot there. Yeah, and before it would level itself out to where it would kick on about 10 o'clock at night and kick off about 8 o'clock in the morning. It runs overnight. Obviously, people are not using the water overnight. It fills up a lot quicker, keeps our run time, pumping down, you know, so we don't want to be into the day and pumping all day and have to that kind of stuff. You know.
Kind of good. Pumps a chance for us.
Yeah.
And a lot of chance for recovery.
Yep. So we are on the schedule for water tower cleaning. They haven't let me know. They'll let me know about a week at a time. And they've done it before, so they know where it's at. They'll show up, clean it, send them hill in, you know. So you guys okayed that several months ago during the winter.
Yes.
Cybersecurity vulnerability assessment. Our SCADA is due by September 1st. I think there's a link out there that we can kind of do one of our own, but I'll double check that. That's kind of what I heard at the French Lick.
Okay.
But if not, we might have to hire somebody. I don't know what it costs for them to come in and do a vulnerability assessment.
Regular system. That's cool.
Yeah, we don't want that, you know. It's
Yeah.
basically changing your password. office sold out the High Tide. High Tide's got a little better of a operational system, but I just signed up for the alerts, so I put myself, Joel, and Sean to get alerts if the water level is too high in the tower, it's too low, if the well's out or whatever. And then I put myself as an admin, which I can go in there and change parameters and all this, and put Joe as a supervisory role or whatever, so he can go in and run a well. If a well needs turned on, he can go on his phone and turn the well on or off. Sean's one step down, and I can't remember what all he does, but then it goes down to just a view, and I didn't add anybody else, but if Jason, Chase want to be on that, I can put them on a view so they can get on their phone and get, okay, the water tower's at 115 or whatever for the report. So, but I plan on putting that stuff on the chlorine shed monitor. So that's the way it used to be on the old system. You look at it, the water tower was 115.9 or whatever. So, but it seems like a little bit better. And then they got a training course. So hopefully, it's probably going to be virtual. We'll get Joel and Sean and myself together and have this training course on how to properly run the thing. That's something that we just ain't had for the last 2 years. And it's, you know, call him every time and he tells us what buttons to push, and it'll be easier. Just to know, yeah, right.
I agree with that.
Because sometimes they don't answer the phone, or Sunday.
Yeah.
And New Year's, we had an issue, you know what I mean? Like nobody would want to answer the phone on New Year's Day. And that's kind of stuff. But anyway, I think it's an improvement and a bettering of our water control system. The water audit is due by August 1st. So last month you guys said that I'm a validator, and I can validate, I can do a water audit. You guys said that you wanted to possibly get with the Alliance, get the free water audit, and then have me do a free validation since I do your water. I can't be a part of the water audit itself, so somebody from the town has to be Alliance to go through that. There is some information that's needed from Melissa. I'm not volunteering for her. You gotta look. No, but there's a couple of sheets that we have to get off of Keystone to do the water audit. Dave's fully aware of that. I sit with Dave. Dave's with the Alliance of the Pro, and he does several of them a year. And just walk you right through it in 2-3 hours. What takes the longest is the questionnaire on the grading system. So, but just one of you guys are going to have to do that in order to get the free validation. If not, I can do a water audit. My wife can validate it. But that'll cost you a little bit there. So, but I can get a hold of Dave and set up a time and give you guys a phone number, set up a time for it. But we just he's busy too if he's going to do it, so I think we need to get on the schedule right away. So
Get it knocked out.
Can you send his contact over? Can you send his contact over?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send it to you.
Alright.
The standard monitoring framework, which is the annual testing. You test nitrates, carcinogens, SOCs, VOCs, IOCs, lead and copper, different ones. Some of them are on 9-year, 3-year, 1-year rotations, so I'm not sure what our schedule is this year, but IDEM has it online. I get on there. But what I'm saying is I'll be ordering that material pretty soon, and Joe knows how to sample it. We'll go around to certain sampling sites and sample it. Take a drink, yeah. Put his finger in the sample.
Yeah.
But that's just going to go on. That's quite a bit of money. So I think it's probably $1,200. So it's not a huge amount, but you guys get a bill from Pace that says $1,100 or something, and you'll know what it's from. Farmersburg Lab. That's where we take it, and that's where this PFAS will go to also. I already talked about the water tower transducer that's working for the last few days real nicely. Our wellhead protection, 90-day, they gave us a 90-day extension. Our delineation, whatever that is approved, I don't know, it's a big old letter, but Peerless Midwest is working on this, lined out on the wellhead protection plan. 5-year update is due, so we're having it done. Been working with Midwest Utility Master Plan, which obviously they've pretty much got it wrapped up. Been working with Commonwealth on the EPA grant, which is a main line upgrade coming down 41. Got the CCR finished up. I emailed it to Melissa. She put it online on Facebook on our webpage out of town. I think it's at the post office. And we'll have to take a copy down to Vita and stuff to let them know. We usually have to hand deliver them a copy down there because they're a medical facility. But I will certify that this week. Just fill out a certification form, how we did it, what we did, send them a copy of the CCR and the certification, and we're good for the year. I think that's what I got on water, unless I think it's on water. You guys got any questions? No. Water. I think these guys listening to them. I think they got. I work with Tony quite a bit. You know, he asked me a lot of questions. We drove around and stuff. So I think we're pretty well dead on what needs to be done, especially on the wastewater side. I think it helps the plant. I say if the plant gets bigger, as the less water goes into it, so the more water we can keep out, and stormwater helps that too. We can move that stormwater away from the manholes and where it gets in quicker, less potential for it to get in. So it all works together. We started testing for E. coli April 1st. UV's in, everything's running good, it's tested good. UV's doing its job. DMR QA is due this year, so every 3 years. IDEM requires us to do a DMR. DMR is, it's away from me right now, but basically it's the EPA side of submitting numbers. So we do a DMR. It's IDEM and EPA, and that's the EPA part of it, where we put into CDX.
A lot of acronyms.
Some of the dates that change, almost like the military. But the QA stands for quality assurance. So we order, if we're doing a pH, BOD, TSS, ammonia, we'll order those tests. They send us unknowns. We run tests on them. We test them, say, hey, this is what we got on that. Send the results back to them. They say, you're within the parameters that we think they are, or we know they are, or we're out, and then you got to release. That's due this year. And I'm not sure, they do different studies, but the DMR study is like 2 or 3 months, and I'm not sure when it opens or closes, but I think it's July to September, but I'll be lying to you if I swear by that. So get it taken care of, and we'll get it turned in. That's all I got. Thank you.
Real quick, while he's there, I have an invoice, if you guys want to go through, it's for core and main for a motor. Is that water or sewer?
Oh, that's sewer. Oh, so the sampler at the water, the wastewater treatment, every 45 minutes it takes 250 milliliter sample to do a composite. They require you to have composite sampling. Is that like 750? 699? Yeah, that's it. So the motor on the sampler itself, it's a peristaltic pump. It's not spinning. So we troubleshoot shot it down. The motor's dead. So I ordered a new motor and we'll be installing that to get the sampler back up and go. You can go out there every 45 minutes,
Mm.
put your wrench on.
For $6.99.
I'll say it.
All in favor? Yeah, that's what we need.
Yeah, that makes sense for me, really good. Anything else, Council?
I got nothing.
Thank you.
Well, excuse myself.
Thank you.
Get out there and get your PFAS. It's really my beer.
Make it be fast.
I didn't. No, there's no signatures yet. Oh, yeah, yeah, we can't.
Has it been done?
No. No, we gotta do the act down on the list.
Okay.
Let's do the list. And the-
Is that half down that amount or is that?
No, it's 15.
Is that half amount? Yeah, you can email that to me.
Yeah, that's 14,000.
That's the full amount. Okay, yep. If he doesn't get to me, I'll call him
Okay.
and make sure he's in there. Sorry, what the, so half down.
I get it, it's 14,000 something. And then once we get in half, we'll go with this.
Okay.
We'll have it.
So that's the way to do it.
Well, yeah. Dustin Drill steals the thunder from me. So, we have done 3 water taps in the past month. We've got 6 more on the board to do. And I think, yeah, well, 3 more actually, because I gotta get back to Alex's brother on that one for him, so it'll be 12 taps in a month's time. That's always pleasant. Let's get ready for the bill for, we're gonna have to restock the parts.
Real quick, Joel brought me this invoice just now, I'll pass it down, I'll let him explain it, and I'll just give you guys the code on whatever it is.
That's when we had Hollywood, so for the weekend, I had trouble getting guys in, so I called the contractor, come give me that, Aaron, actually, you showed up on that one.
I came out there.
It goes pretty good price, it didn't charge us labor or equipment,
Yeah.
so that was a plus. He just charged us for the emergency call out and like a minimum hour fee that he charges for it.
It's their price $1,000.
It's all possible to do that, man.
Well, like, really, yeah, it's $1,000.
That was a long day.
That is very small.
Oh, yeah, I think it's $1,000.
Was it 1,000?
It is.
Yeah, it's
What's
really-
your,
Well, then, I can be writing that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
keep him on speed dial.
Yeah, I make a motion to pay this, to Shape Property LLC for $1,000.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
He told me.
Alex, and you have him send me a W-9, and then I just need proof of insurance. But you can email it, or you can just stick it in my box, whichever.
One second here. You said
Go ahead.
W9?
Huh?
W9?
Yes,
And
and,
insurance?
yes, I think that is it.
Got you.
And then in the future, just like a phone that we use, we need to like some sort of contract, but I know we're kind of trying to put something together. But yeah, if you can just email it or print it and drop it in the box, it's fine. And then, okay, next, I got 2 invoices from Bain Welker totaling $15.72. They said they were out to work on the brand new backhoe that we don't use, but, I don't know, so I passed those down. You guys.
Do we not have a service contract on that?
Well, they said, well, she typed it all out, and she said that because it was just dead batteries, like, that doesn't cover.
Doesn't cover dead batteries.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming because it's set there for so long.
I told them that they wouldn't like it, but I could put the batteries in and have them cover it. They probably don't cover anything that we would have called it in for.
Yeah.
Conveniently. Can we postpone that? Can I call on them bills? Because I completely disagree. They're not gonna maintenance their equipment either. I mean,
Table it till next month?
yeah, can we table that? Can you send me copies of those that way? Because I'll call them. Or I'll probably just show up at their place. I mean, I don't understand how that, I mean, if the batteries are bad or, I mean.
Remind me, and I have it on my phone, and I'll email it to you before we leave. Okay, next one. I don't have the actual invoice, I've emailed them and asked them for it, but they're really bad about getting it back. So I thought, if you guys know what it is, we could go ahead and vote and approve it. That way when the invoice comes in, I can just pay it instead of being in the white. It was for Marlowe and Sons Underground Utility, and it's for $5,300. What it's for. If we want to table it, that's fine. Last time it took them like 6 months.
That was
to get
it.
the invoice.
The emergency under Section Street. For the emergency door under Section Street. Oh, where that's on? Mm-hmm. I guess we know that.
So I won't pay it if I have an invoice, but if you guys want to go ahead and vote.
Say 5,300?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve 5,300 for Marlowe Sons.
Second that, all in favor?
I did find out too that Shakes does do bores too.
All right. Good, good to know.
Hey, if you happen to talk to the Marlowe guy, see if you can add my email so they can email me, you know what I mean, like the invoice. This came to the town's email and it didn't have an invoice, it just has to, for future, but they're really hard to get a hold of. Okay, that is
I
done.
bet it'd be easy to get hold of for one money.
Yeah.
I'll wait until you call that.
Okay, next is, I got 2 more things that were done other than the vouchers. So, I was thinking last month, so I don't know what you guys decided. You guys have 2 applications for the Sharon Schroeder's position. I don't know if you want to review them, what you guys want.
Also, this week.
So yeah, if you want to interview, that will be after the executive session, to interview them.
Absolutely.
I'll be over that.
Yeah. For sure. This is grandmother. Yeah.
Who's the 2 applicants?
Bernie Norris and Kathy Truck. So, yes, we're going to do executive session.
Yeah.
So-
Okay.
In January, you were gonna get a description of that job, did you? What that entails?
So it's actually gonna completely revolve around, doing the progress of, replacing Liz's job. Is, what Liz said. It's gonna be part-time in the beginning, but they're gonna be learning how to completely run the front office in preparation to take over the water office.
Because Liz is leaving, is that what?
Not anytime soon, I don't think, but,
Okay.
It's all Keystone Software?
It helps if someone else knows how to do it in advance.
Okay, so, I just asked if you guys don't care to keep me, you guys are figuring out the executive session. Alright, last thing I have other than your guys' vouchers, we got this letter from Springer Law Office, about the library. So state board of council just says, I'll read you the paragraph, and it's the contract that was originally signed back in 1973. It just says, this firm represents the Sullivan County Public Library. Please find enclosed a copy of the lease dated the 10th day of February 1973 between the town of Shelburn and the Sullivan County Public Library. We're hereby notified on April 8, 2026 to terminate the enclosed lease
question.
You know what?
That's amazing, isn't it? Why are you closing the library?
We're not.
Who is?
I got a question.
Wait a minute, who's closing it?
Library board did.
The library. And where are they at?
Probably at the library.
Yeah, I think the administration's been representing the library.
In Sullivan?
Yeah.
Did they tell people why they were doing it?
They called me, I think it was one day last week.
April 9th.
And we had to meet over at the library. I said, tell me, there's 3 of them there. And she said, we voted on to close the library because there wasn't enough people coming to it.
Did they have a reason?
Is that not enough traffic?
So the question I have is, the roof leak, and they let you guys know that, right?
Well, about a month after the weekend.
A month after, well, he went to work.
But
She comes to work every day, except for,
never told me about it.
well, I was under the impression that she went to the town building and told someone that the roof had leaked. How'd you guys find out the roof leaked?
I got a phone call from the other president down there and said it was leaking.
At Sullivan?
Yeah, I can't remember what April it was late for.
Yeah, they went. So they told me when I went down there, when I seen the note on the door, that you guys were supposed to let them know when the roof got fixed so that they could open that back up.
She called and I told her it was fixed.
April called you?
No, I didn't do it.
The other lady. Wait, you know when she called you?
It was about 3 days after I found out it was leaking.
Because a few years ago, do you know, remember what years we went and had the meetings, all those meetings?
I don't.
Well, we the library closed because they posted it, what
I
was
think
it?
it was 2023.
I think you're right. We had meetings here, we had them at the museum in Sullivan. And a bunch of people went to save that library. We've not even notified
It was
them.
my decision.
They notified Jesse, I know that, because
Who
he
did they
came,
notify?
Jesse Kessler, because he came over and was telling me about it, and was working on
Well,
it.
when I talked to Jesse, he didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, they just notified everyone, I think he said, weeks
When I
ago.
called her, she said they posted on that back annex building. I'm like, well, how are people supposed to know? Because I've been in the front building and there was no notices on there. I asked on several occasions, she said, we're waiting on Shelburn to let us know it's been fixed. That's what April Cox told me.
She called me about 3 days after I found out it was leaking. We had a dry rack and dry loss solution, one into the other. What it was the drains were chopped up and all the leaves and froze and went up underneath the heat. And took care of it, we got all the downspouts, put all them together. And
Oh, why don't the gutters get cleaned out? Why don't the gutters get cleaned out?
I don't know.
So, how much rent did they pay rent every month? They paid $250. Okay, they didn't pay utility bills?
No, they pay their own utilities.
They paid their own utility bills. Just got a separate.
We always got.
Well, I think that water is all on one. So is that right, Liz? Yeah. So we pay their water, so they pay probably electric and maybe gas. I don't know if it's gas or electric.
So if we want to bring the library back, we need to go talk to them individuals.
I think Sullivan already made that decision,
I
but.
was gonna say, the letter in here says they're gonna be moved out by May, and then this is the second letter she included, it says, the decision follows a review of several factors, including lower usage, facility constraints, and long-term sustainability. Patrons can continue to use other branches, digital collections, and online programs. Current materials checked out, the library should be returned to the Sullivan County Library of your choice.
So they
But
don't.
But her number is on here, if anybody wants.
What's her name?
April Cox. So whenever that library went over there back in 1973,
And her
did
phone
it come
number?
from over where the Shirley building?
I only know that you.
Is that where it came from, Betty? From
Is it phone number?
Yeah.
Remember the Shirley?
268.
It was over there where Mrs.
4957.
That's just something to take away from a small
No, she was
town.
over there in
Kids
that
can
building
come,
with the same
people
person.
who can't.
Especially if you don't have school or the library or go out to do like internet or, you know.
That's right, you chose the school too, didn't you?
I thought they must be notified, or public notice that those were gonna close.
This is not those water.
I didn't see the cars there. Aaron was there with 3 women, and they, it was a private meeting.
Yes, probably, 7 o'clock meeting before that, and that's our meeting, we're at 9:30. I said, yes. I was told we heard, and then the bid out was the whole deal.
Okay.
Yeah, they said they made a decision on that topic right there, and there wasn't anything.
Well, there's no way to check, because the only thing you have to write your name down on is if you wanna use the internet.
Oh, yeah.
You go in there and get, if you wrote your name down, go in there and get votes before? No. So
So
how do they know?
puzzles, like switches or puzzles out, it's just a.
They don't even do that anymore, all those are gone. Before, gone in years.
Well, what is it called? A free library where they, you could have somebody volunteer to come in there?
I think, I think she volunteered there, she retired last year.
Okay.
No,
No.
she got paid, she was part-time paid.
She was there every day, so.
The thing is everything in it belongs to them, so.
Oh, yeah, no, I
they're taking that.
understand.
So if we were to do that, we'd have to
Sure,
figure out.
oh, no, well, yeah, but, I would think there would be organizations that might be willing to donate.
Yeah, they.
Good.
Take stuff out of the league.
I might as well put that out
They
there.
just signed it.
I guess we need to go down there and find out what we're gonna do with all those books.
They're going back.
Pardon?
We've been going around all week.
It's in
They
their.
took probably,
But we had a library in our town for years. We had a library. What happened to all those books? I'm sure they got old. I was there all the time.
I like those books.
Me too. They took them all out of here when this lady came in.
I'm glad I still.
that's all I have. Twice a week, that truck come in.
Right. Because even if you got some solid or phosphorus, you drop them off. The bad thing is when we're doing that, our post office is closed half the day, every day. So the post office lost their bank, lost their bank. So I mean, what are you gonna do for the future generations?
Is there a possibility that we might check, like Chimera has their own facility there, a library? Could we do something like that?
So what happens to the tax money that we pay out of taxes every
Is
year?
it going to go somewhere?
There's a library tax on our taxes.
So in Chimera, I think the money still went
No.
there for a while. I
They
thought
don't
they
get the
were
money. No, they told me they did not get the money. So it all goes to Sullivan. Every morning you guys pay library tax. You got property taxes, you pay, you pay property, you pay library tax.
Well,
Now you're paying it, you don't have library.
how many libraries are here in this, like, a 20-mile
They just
radius?
remodeled Desert, they remodeled Farmersburg, they dropped and Carlisle, and they dropped Chimera. They had their own library, they were feeding books. And they won't do that anymore. That's when we were 2 years ago.
Huh.
And so now they dropped that.
Well, they want to close it too because from them it's not wheelchair accessible. That is one of their complaints.
Yeah, but if you remember, this was,
We're fine.
this also wasn't the first time, so there was a meeting
Yeah.
last year, the year before, it was a while ago, where they got in and they did this, big presentation, and everybody down there, like speaking out against closing, and even Chimera, people were there where they talked about like how they had funded, and then at that time, they were talking about building this huge gigantic annex that would be off of the Sullivan Library, and like, and I'm not saying that it's 100%, but everyone there kind of got like the impression that that's what they were trying to do, they were trying to close these down so that they could focus that money on that annex and how they wanted to build that, and not necessarily like the smaller towns where it came from. So, I mean, and then everyone kind of like was up in arms about it, and then it went away for a long time, and then all of a sudden this was done kind of quietly.
Yeah.
Very minimal, like,
And that's why we're
notification.
actually, we went to all those meetings. And we didn't know anything about it.
Whenever everybody knows it was closed, and had to walk by there, sliding on the road.
Yeah.
They never notified anybody in town, so they're actually sliding up to close.
Kind of this is like,
Well, that's the thing, it's only agreed with Jesse when like every meeting.
We did, we always did.
And we even offered, free rent, for like if it's
We always
a
did. And there was also something discussed about putting in a handicap,
Yeah.
some kind of handicap thing over here to get in, because we had lost the
letter?
I haven't read the contract, but I don't think that, I'd say that.
Do you want me to have Terry?
I'm objecting, so I'm agree.
Well, my question is that, I remember the library being up there, and back then you could ride your bikes, you could, I know we can't do that anymore, but we always had a library. What do you do about people that need it to file a job?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's important.
It is.
It is important to a town.
And why
We got a school,
Yeah.
we got a school, we might as well get to keep our library.
Exactly.
Yeah, what happened to the books at Shelburn School?
Well, and what happened to all the books from the library that we had? We had a big library. It was in that building where Shirley had her, where Sandy Pearson had her Shirley's.
It's not like they're gonna move all the books from here to Sullivan, like their shelves are empty or something.
Stellar County used to give a library.
You know what I mean, to do what with them, burn them?
I'm sorry, we're being mean.
Last thing I was first, you guys to vote and approve or deny?
I'm making my
Support, we're fired up.
Make sure they sign this one.
Excuse me? Okay. All right, second motion.
Jay, email you guys the ticket report, the earlier today, did you guys all see that?
What is it?
Jay emailed the ticket, it's like a ticket report.
So, at that time when he was talking about, they talked about offering free rent.
Yes, we tried to offer for it, and denied it.
They denied that, so that would be an option if we talk to him again? Okay. I'll go down and talk to him and find out what the deal is, and then I'll let you know.
Because I mean, if they ain't paying rent, what's the point even closing it? I mean,
They make sure $50.
yeah, but if they don't have to pay that, then why close it?
Well, they had that option before.
Yeah.
What's the deal on the yard that got moved out here to the town hall? I didn't think it worked, so you're using it? And nobody on the town could install it? You had to pay to put a battery in it?
That's what
That's why we're all paying.
That's what.
I think they thought it was under warranty.
Why don't you find out if any of this stuff is on a maintenance contract or anything before you go buy it or lease it?
Do what?
Why don't you find out what's in the contract that they will cover before you go invest in something like
Well,
that? I mean, that's stupid.
Because they told me to come pick up the batteries, I said, is it not under a service contract where you guys install and
Well,
keep
you
it
should have,
maintained?
that should have been
They said they'll get
discussed.
back with me, then they said they're gonna come down and put them in, and then they sent us a bill. So,
That should have been decided before the thing was even purchased.
no,
You need to find
I
out
got one
what's
down
in
there, we're getting ready to go through. But with the backhoe, I guess, I've looked through it, I've called the city capital people. Practically the only way to get out is to pay it off. Then Diamond said that they might be able to make an offer on the backhoe, and they came down and they looked at it, and they said that to pay it off and get it for $70,000, they said that they would never be able to recoup the money for them to resell it. They said just hang on to it for the next 14 months and try to find little jobs that you can do with it, which aren't very many anyway.
I was gonna say, if it don't work, what can it do?
I paid off,
I mean, it's
what's the
getting a little
difference?
bit now, but nothing like what we needed.
So far, we paid over 40,000 on it. We got it July 24.
And how many months did it sit here? Idle?
Most of them had it.
No, I mean, how many months did it sit out here and
In the
didn't do
yard
anything?
order?
How long is your contract?
And we got 14 more months. I mean, we're right to the, I mean, they can't, I mean, the only option is to pay it off, send it back, or find not aware.
Well, I think whoever, goes to look at another one knows how to operate one and use it and try it out before they just go up and say, yeah, I want it.
We'll talk about that.
I mean, that's stupid for somebody out there that knows nothing about it.
I did do that, so, I guess we can talk about that now. So, speaking of Diamond, so Diamond came in because ultimately we need a bigger, mini of some sort to be able to start putting these water lines in the ground. Our background's starting to have some little issues that the employees are worried that it's actually gonna go out soon if we keep running it to death. So, I sent Sean and Joel, was it just you and, Sean that went out there?
Yeah.
They went through all of the equipment at Diamond, they, played with the equipment, they ran the equipment, they looked at the bigger size, the smaller sizes, and ultimately came up with the TB260, Takaguchi, mini excavator. I did go ahead and have them give us a lease to present tonight. Aaron, do you have those papers for me? So,
I got it. I don't know. That's it?
that's one.
It's ready for that already.
And then those.
Okay. I hate it.
No,
I need that one too. I need that one. Those are all different.
Okay.
Are we gonna leave the Christmas tree and snowflakes here? Back up, Joel. Just leave it.
Well, the lift that Matt used to put it up with broke down, and they've been waiting on the part to come in to fix the lift, and they said it was supposed to be here today, so it'll be sometime this week, after they get the part put on, that they're gonna come through and help.
I think we ought to leave it up and do it that way it goes.
See, that's what I said.
Maybe we're not building it.
250 years.
Yeah.
Alright,
Be festive.
so I got with Joe from Diamond Equipment, he's a salesman, and we went with the premier option, which covers practically everything except for if we break a headlight or if we bust a window out. Those are things that we would have to pay for, but hoses, batteries, tracks, anything that would break within the 4 years is supposed to be covered within he's got, what, 5 pages worth of everything, and it covers on the menu. And then I also asked him how much it costs to rent versus lease. So he said to rent it monthly was $3,800 a month is what we were running. And to lease it, he gave me 3 lease options. They're on 4-year leases. The NCL, these are all kind of weird. This one here is $24.45, $55 a month. But so it's a little bit cheaper than the other two. But at the very end, whenever you go to either do a trade-in or buy it out or leave it alone, they do a appraisal on it, and that's what you owe at the end of the lease.
Current market value or whatever.
Yeah, the current market value, so they'll come down to with appraisal on it, then that's what you owe at the end of the 4-year lease. So if they say we're $30,000 at the end of the lease, you gotta buy that. Then the second one was, these are bi-annual payments, it's $15,501.59 for a 4-year. And, I believe it's a $1 buy at the end. But it was still higher, so I left it alone. And then what I really looked at was this, DLL Finance Group for 8 months. It was, let's see here, $13,780.60 semi-annually. It comes up to like $27,000 some change per year. And then it's a $1 buyout at the very bottom. So at the very end of the 4 years, you pay $1 and you get the piece of equipment and then go get something else. $107,000. Yeah, I think is what it was. Then this one was like 31,000. But here's these 4 of those. But I think that it was close to 7 months of branding one, which we're going to be putting a lot of line. We're going to do about a lot of line. I think last year's project was a 6-month project, and it was like right at $23,000 to rent But the employees did actually go down, they worked the equipment, they looked at everything on the lot, and that's what they came up with. And with that 107, that's got all the add-ons are on it. It's got the thumb, the extra hookups, the blade that swivels back and forth so they can push the holes back in whenever they're done.
That is a lot better for the manual. I mean, it's not these separate things tracked way down.
And that one's got the 3-in-1 blade, so like you can angle your blade when you go to fill in, so you ain't gotta like back and forth and back and forth. You can just angle your blade, go down the street, and shove it all back and forth.
So what's that going to be used for?
Well, they can utilize it for everything that a Raptor does within a couple of lines. It'll be able to do all of our water taps.
Is that for lines or is that solid?
It'll be ready for all of our water lines. It's got, we put the extra, you want to check?
What about the town ones?
Yeah, it's gonna go for all, it'll be used for all of our new water, the new water line
Water lines
equipment,
in town?
all the taps. It'll be utilized in all the forms, and we went with generally we get a 500-hour equipment lease per year. I upgraded it to 1,000 with the fact that we are going to be putting all these water mains in, because I think we ran a ton of hours out of the rented equipment.
Yeah.
And he said that it's $25 an hour for every hour you go over after the 500. And there's like an extra $1,000 to go for the extra 1,000, I think, or for the extra 500 hours in the initial.
Yeah, so we all lines in town.
Yeah, and so instead of driving back around, they will fit on our trailer that we already, I'm sure that they'll fit on the trailer that we already own, so that they'll put on the truck, and they'll take it solid, and they'll take it everywhere as needed. Yes, Brittany. Yeah, it's a,
Yeah, that's what they're,
I think it's a 12,000 pound machine or whatever, 12,500. But I mean, we're gonna rent it for 23,000 probably to be able to put water lines in the ground, or 27,000, 27,500 along those lines, I think it was, to just own it for the, or have it for the whole entire year for 4 years and then buy it for $1 then it's ours.
I said, we got a lot of water lines replaced.
Now, I guess the only question is from Melissa down there, I know that we've got a lease payment going out, but with everything that we're about to do, we're either gonna have to rent or get one. Is this doable?
Did you get the numbers you spit off, are those multiple machines, or is that one machine just for
One machine only gets to purchase it, and they run through a program, so I don't have to, it'll focus it down to that.
So for
I
any
don't have to-
purchase of 50 to 150,000, you have to have free quotes. Indiana Code 5-2-8-3. So if you can get like,
He said that, I forget, I just wrote it down, the program they run through says that, the state recognizes that it doesn't need the 3 quotes. He rattled it off to me several times.
I mean,
I did
you
read
guys
it.
do what you're saying. That's all I know.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Do they not do, when I was the town clerk in Farmersburg, we used to go to the state and buy their
No,
equipment,
they still do that.
huh?
They
Do
still do
still
that.
do that?
They have a website, you can go on and.
Okay. I didn't know if they still do that or not.
It's like, so all the, like, towns and cities all put their stuff on there and sell it to each other.
No, this was just the state. This was just, yeah, this was just the
Well,
government.
we used to
the
get
state.
state stuff like that,
Yeah,
that's where we got the dump truck that had a brand new motor, but whenever we had it for a year, it rusted out and the bed, when they went to the dump, the bed just came off the truck completely, where they pushed it. So it's been sitting in the weeds since they purchased that, 15 years
Got a
ago.
brand new motor in it now?
Well, yeah, except for the other state truck that we also purchased, that didn't run worth a crap. We basically robbed Peter to pay Paul, and that's what kept that one on the road for as long as it did.
Anyways, Alex, to answer your other question, where will you be taking the money out of?
Yeah.
So
That was supposed to
your water operating in the year was 46,338. It is down to 29,822. So if we keep spending the way we're spending, that's going to be down to zero probably by September, which then we'll be in the same boat we were in last October. Yes. you're at 295, 210 on that, so. I guess we have to take it out of there.
I mean, it'll be utilized for water, sewer, streets, stormwater, and everything. If we can pull it up, I don't know.
I mean, you can split it, it's just again, when you sewers and sewers, you know what I mean?
Okay.
In the same situation. But yes, the one we currently have, the new one, we pay 75% out of water, 25% out of sewer every,
Okay.
so we could still do that as well.
Let's put the stuff down, let it back.
Yeah, he said that he could do that, but he would never, he said that he could pay it off and send it, up there, and they could try to sell it. He said that you'll never touch what you're gonna.
No, well,
He said it'd be 1,000 times cheaper just to hold it
We're gonna take a hit.
and then send it back when we're done, I guess. It's a long day.
So why did you guys buy that thing? Can you talk about the yellow thing that's out here? Why was it bought?
Well, at the time, the other back there was being rebuilt.
So did you get a policy on that, or, you say you talked about a warranty policy?
Yeah, that was.
Why is it sit out here all this time? Did you contact your attorney I mean, that's what your attorney's for. I mean, you're paying them every month.
No, they said that it's just a small machine, we never, after we released it, they said it's a small machine, we should have never released it.
That's right.
And that's, after they sold it, they said it was an identical match, just a different brand of what we had. I mean, that thing's a little bitty back up compared to what we had.
Wasn't that misrepresentation on their part?
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
That ought to be a legal leg to stand on there.
I mean,
Well, the other
I
thing
don't know if
is,
you've seen
they
it.
have,
I've tried everything, and they're,
they
I
wrote
have
a letter to the company and said,
Oh, I thought everybody. I thought that probably 10 different people were.
the general manager of the place told us to do that.
And
Well, I went over their head to the main company.
I mean, whenever I dealt with CNH Capital, they get with the company direct, and so, they said there was nothing that the company was gonna do either. I mean, they said that we can pay it off, or we can pull it and try to find something to do with it.
Misrepresented.
But he said that we signed a lease paper, so I mean, it's a guy at Carsman sells them in the same.
If they lied to you to start with, that's the whole thing, that's what I'm getting at.
Right.
That's fraud, is it not?
And it should have been rolled and used and tried out before.
Well, I agree, we did learn our lesson from that, and I did send the guys up there that did run this piece of equipment, they touched everything up there and made sure that that was what needed to be used and that could pull the road. could
Yeah,
be-
but you wouldn't have been in the spot if that would have happened the first time.
I guess we really learned on that, but I
Expensive lesson.
I think the thing for me is, I don't understand why your attorney didn't do anything, but you didn't have to do it. I mean, it's still under a warranty time frame when you first started having trouble.
still in it.
Oh, it's in the morning. You probably put like
25 hours or on half my series.
another 5 more a week or so, Bill.
Who did you buy it from?
You don't know?
Lane
Lane
Rover. Lane Rover.
Out there on
I went to buy my car
Is that
and
right?
buy it.
16.
This is what it is.
Yeah, I think it's Lane Rover.
So what do I need to do,
I mean, if it's something now, if you want to do it, then. I said my thoughts.
I just want, I mean,
I mean, I don't.
what if we, can we,
I mean, is it something that needs to look next year? Like, is the project?
I mean, we need to start putting the road, or start putting pipe in the ground before it gets paved, for we're gonna have the same problem we got over on Water Street. But, can we approve it contingent, I'll call him and get that website or whatever that he utilized, the state, and then we can double check that, I can get that to you, and we can make sure that we're good. I mean, we don't need to do another very soon on that.
So, is this through, it's not through city capital?
No.
Okay.
No, CNH Capital, I mean, they write a really good contract, and, you can't break it, you can't.
Just, tell me what you want to do with your motions and pass me that down.
I don't.
Is this it?
Yeah, this is the one I read.
For not liking paperwork, you still keep it a lot.
I know, I didn't want it.
Just saying.
Oh, there's 500, DLD for this quote or something, I guess, on here.
For a quote?
I don't know, I don't know. I think that's a good well set up, maybe.
That's probably his fee.
Like a dog fee.
Tell him he does his job, that's what about me.
Alright, well, I'll make a motion to approve the DLL finance for 48 months, with a purchase of $1 in for $107,750. Semi-annual payments of $13,780.60 at 1% rate. Pending, we check and make sure that it is legal website
Okay.
to purchase with minimal quotes.
Well,
Can you pass that on?
You just said that 3 times fast.
Yeah, because I couldn't.
I'll second the motion.
Looking forward, they only.
So, what the other dealership said, I see on page, is that, that's just the financing, so much they don't want to care about the equipment, like, they want to finance it.
Oh.
You have to buy the company, but you tried to lock it down before, and then they've also, I mean, they tried to look out the CNH one, they said they're way too much money, that people lose again and again.
So do you have to sign a contract with Diamond for the actual purchase and the warranty and all that?
No, I think that's all in one. So that's all in one quote for $107,500. Here's the.
And we're doing it 8
Trying to make sure it's getting in shape.
Is this the meeting back?
No. Not until I call him tomorrow morning, I don't know, I mean, it doesn't need to be, because if he goes, no, that's not what I meant, then I like to put it on.
It is.
Obi, you seconded?
Yes, I did. Second.
Do you have an offer favor and everything?
And what's it?
Yes.
Well, I guess if you're just stacking it up, then.
Yep, you get all those stars and folders.
You want to leave my paper? What is this?
Probably something.
I mean, this has got the sizing, diameter, everything
That's
else.
from the, that's from the money here.
Ah,
That was their paper to have, that was the letter to Christine.
okay.
Okay, Alex, so just to be clear, you don't need anything else from me on this, correct? You and Aaron.
I can take it off other than just verifying and making sure that, I'll probably email you tomorrow and figure that out available.
I'm gonna email you those invoices real quick from,
Oh, yeah, that company is driving me absolutely crazy. I don't get it.
Really quick, I have on my notes from the last meeting I was at, we talked about the swings at the park have a recall and have to be replaced. The new ones are in town hall, up in the window, when you walk into the right. We just need somebody to have like 20 minutes, take the old ones off and put the new ones on.
What is it?
It's just the seat of the swings at the park. Yeah, so it's the brand new swing set,
We can
and
get
have a
that.
safety recall. Kids' fingers get stuck. They're in there in the box when you walk into the right.
Heck, I can go get out of the meeting a little long before dark.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know if you can do it.
Hey, I'm fast. Don't get finished, that we got 4 hands full. Keep your phone on the phone.
But if we can't die.
Oh, put both your hands in there.
Drop it.
I'll probably swing it on just to test what the
No,
recall
I'm
is,
not talking.
and then I'll switch
Is
it.
there anything else that you got?
I sent that to you, the engineer,
Yeah, no, I'll
So you don't understand?
That's gonna be okay.
Anybody else?
The late charge?
Okay, so water bills listed, water bills out on the 27th of March. on the 29th, heading eastbound, and there was metal over the thing. I have no idea if our stuff was in there, but maybe that's possible. What do you wanna do? So normally late fees go on the 16th, this is not adding them on. Our ordinance says you have to do that, so if you want to like bypass the late fees, you either have to have a motion.
I would like to bypass.
So,
Thank you.
One month deal for.
No, well, it's, the reading is from,
So it's April bills.
yeah, but it's April.
So we just need, so that we don't get rid of an audit, it's very clear in the minutes that you're bypassing it due to blah, 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 and so that would be clear.
I don't know what word it up, but I think we should waive it. If we can't send them bills, then I would expect them to pay.
And they may try.
Yeah, I mean, it was everybody's hands, well, out of our hands, I mean,
We're gonna try to, I mean, it costs us like $400 some bucks, and then we're gonna try to see if we get some credit next month. I doubt they will, but we'll try.
I'm trying to get credit. I'm trying to get credit.
Okay, so you have a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to avoid the,
Wait, how about we call it wait?
Yeah, wait.
waive the late.
No, I like Lloyd better.
Wait.
April
Okay, due to, yeah.
2026's bills due to the bills being lost in the mail. And only
How
April.
about, no, on 26?
Yeah, there we go. And that verifies it's just April 2026, so like people don't come in next year and go.
April Fools.
We have a second. Is that good, Liz? Is that covered?
If not, we'll reapprove it again next month.
She says perfect. No.
I mean, motion to close.
I wasn't, at first I was gonna try and put the
I'm gonna make a motion to close this meeting.
later, but I don't think we should put it on. Carolyn's daughter.
I know, that's what I wanted to do.
We'll see you guys.